Hello there, you're watching Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Well, a new mobile app to make digital payments easier. The app called Bheem was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi a short while back in the national capital. That is our top focus in News at 6. Also, in Samajwadi Party camp, with fault lines exposed over ticket distribution, we look closely if the party is heading for a split. All the details on that and much more in this bulletin, starting with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches Aadhaar-based digital app, says it will revolutionize the way India pays as the thumb will rule supreme. "50 days after demonetization, the situation at banks and ATMs remains largely unchanged. Government now pushes for digitizing Indian economy, announces freebies for digi payments. Arunachal Pradesh to get its fourth chief minister in 10 months. Pema Khandu suspended by his party along with 6 other MLAs. Takam Pario expected to take over soon. Samajwadi Party chief Mulayam Singh Yadav issues notices to Akhilesh Yadav and Ram Gopal Yadav for releasing a parallel list of candidates, even as the party looks headed for a bitter split. And US-Russian ties reach all-time low post-Cold War after America sends 35 Russian diplomats back home, Moscow to do the same in retaliation. Well, our top story this hour, in keeping with his push to steer India towards a cashless economy, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today launched an Aadhaar-based mobile payment application called Bheem, the Bharat interface for money at the Digidhan Mela held in New Delhi. Now, it is a rebranded version of the unified payment interface and unstructured supplementary service data. At the event, Prime Minister did a trial run by making a payment to Khadi using the Bheem mobile application. Well, the new app is expected to minimize the role of plastic cards and the point of sale machines. The app would also eliminate the free payment for service providers such as MasterCard or Visa. To use this app, a merchant or a commoner would need an Android phone and an Aadhaar ID. Well, the Prime Minister added that soon one would be able to make a payment using their thumb impression without being dependent upon the internet or a smartphone. Prime Minister also felicitated the winners of Lucky Grahak Yojana.
भारत के माथे पर विकास और विश्वास का विजय तिलक लगाने वाले से इनकी हौसला अफजाई करें।
बहुत ही सरल है। इसे आप डाउनलोड करने के बाद स्मार्टफोन हो, 1000-1200 वाला मामूली फीचर फोन हो, इससे इसका उपयोग कर सकते हैं आप। इंटरनेट होना ही चाहिए, जरूरी नहीं है। और आने वाले 2 सप्ताह के भीतर भीतर एक और काम हो रहा है, जिसकी सिक्योरिटी की चेकिंग की व्यवस्था चल रही है इन दिनों। वो आने के बाद तो ये भीम की ताकत ऐसी होगी कि आपको न मोबाइल फोन की जरूरत पड़ेगी, न स्मार्टफोन की जरूरत पड़ेगी, न फीचर फोन की जरूरत पड़ेगी, न इंटरनेट की जरूरत पड़ेगी। सिर्फ आपका अंगूठा काफी है। आपका अंगूठा काफी है। कोई कल्पना कर सकता है, एक जमाना था अनपढ़ को अंगूठा छाप कहा जाता था। वक्त बदल चुका है। अंगूठा आप ही का अंगूठा आपकी बैंक, आप ही का अंगूठा आपकी पहचान, आप ही का अंगूठा आपका कारोबार।
Meanwhile, the 50-day deadline to deposit the old 500,000 rupee notes in banks came to an end on Friday, but the cash crunch still continues. Now, starting Saturday, it will be illegal to hold on to old notes, barring some exceptions. Take a look.
As the year comes to an end, so has the deadline given by the government to deposit all 500 and 1000 rupee notes in banks. Starting Saturday, those still holding the scrapped currency can deposit it only at select branches of the Reserve Bank of India till 31st March 2017. After 31st March 2017, holding demonetized notes would be illegal. However, banks are still unable to honor the people's need as there is not enough cash in the banking system despite the repeated assurance from the Reserve Bank of India and Finance Ministry.
मैडम सिचुएशन सेम की सेम है, कोई खास मतलब तब्दीली नहीं आई है और शायद इसमें टाइम लग जाएगा काफ़ी।
अभी इतने लोग हैं, लोगों के पास पैसे हैं, आज भी आप देख रहे थे लंबी लाइन लगी है, तो इन्हें कुछ ना कुछ स्टेप तो लेने ही चाहिए कि भाई लोगों को एटलीस्ट जो पैसा है लोगों के पास उसको तो एटलीस्ट चेंज करके दें।
जो पीएनबी जो हमारा था उसमें तो आज कैश मिला ही नहीं उनको, आरबीआई से खाली आए थे वो, इसलिए एटीएम से ले गए और इसमें 2000 का निकल रहा है, बस 500 का है नहीं, तो 2000 मिला है।
The government, amid the cash chaos, began to stress on the digitization of the Indian economy and announced freebies for digital transactions.
Second phase already start हो गया, वो है डिजिटल ट्रांसफर ऑफ मनी, डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शंस। ये बहुत जरूरी है। जैसा मैंने कहा, जो मोदी जी ने पहले रीमोनेटाइजेशन और डीमोनेटाइजेशन किया, वो एक वैक्सीन अगेंस्ट द स्कैम्स, तो वैक्सीन यूज करने के बाद उसका रिजल्ट आना धीरे धीरे शुरू होगा।
On Thursday, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had said that the impact of demonetization is clearly visible, with tax and revenue collections going up. Jaitley said the gross direct tax collection was now growing at a rate of 14.4% over last year. This growth rate was only 8.3% previous year. In the central indirect taxes, there has been an increase of 26.2% till 30th November. According to the Reserve Bank, more than 13 lakh crores in old notes have returned to the system as deposits. So far, neither the government nor the RBI has given any clarity on the breakups of 2000 rupees and 500 rupees notes infused since demonetization. Meanwhile, the opposition parties continue to train their guns on the government.
We will not demand punishment considering the high office you hold, but we demand accountability on behalf of people of India. Modi ji, now that 50 days are over, can people of this country look forward to withdrawing their own money from their own bank accounts without any restriction from tomorrow onwards?
The left parties have given call for countrywide agitation. For the whole month of January, we will be conducting campaign to expose the duplicity, the failures of Mr. Modi government. And in fact, our party has given the call from January 3 to 10.
उनको धन्यवाद नहीं देना चाहिए देश की जनता से को, बल्कि उनसे माफ़ी मांगनी चाहिए, क्योंकि जिस प्रकार से जल्दबाजी में नोटबंदी का फैसला हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने लिया और मोदी सरकार ने लिया, उसका नुकसान पूरे देश को हुआ है।
Amid the prevailing, the Prime Minister is likely to address the nation on Saturday. All eyes will be on him when he addresses the nation on New Year's Eve. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to some other news now. Well, fiscal deficits touched the 4.58 lakh crore rupees mark, or the 85.8% of the budget estimate for the whole financial year at the end of April to November this year. Well, the fiscal situation at the end of November was better this financial year compared to the year ago period, with the deficit then standing at 87%. Well, fiscal deficit, remember, is the gap between the expenditure and revenue for the entire fiscal. For 2016-17, it has been pegged at 5.33 lakh crore rupees, or 3.5% of the GDP. News from the northeast, and Arunachal Pradesh is all set to have its fourth chief minister within 10 months after Pema Khandu and 6 other MLAs were suspended by the party for alleged anti-party activities. Well, the People's Party of Arunachal Pradesh chief Kalyang Jarang told the State Assembly on Friday that Khandu and other suspended MLAs should be considered unattached and seated separately. Well, Pema Khandu broke away from the Congress along with 42 other members in the month of September. The PPA, which embraced him, then said that Khandu failed to meet expectations. Now, Arunachal Pradesh PHED Minister Takam Paryo is now likely to take over as the next Chief Minister, though former Deputy Chief Minister Kamong Dolo and present Rural Development and Panchayati Raj Minister Tanga Byaling were the front-runners for the post. The consensus was on name of Takam Paryo. Well, Arunachal Pradesh has been struggling with political instability since last December, when Congress dissidents campaigned to remove their Chief Minister Nabam Tuki. Well, BJP, which is a part of the coalition government in the state, made it clear that it will only support Pema Khandu.
We are just not happy with the leadership of Pema Khandu. He has not been able to, take the party into confidence. Pema Khandu continues, then I fear that, misunderstanding can develop between BJP and PPA, because we are supposed to be alliance partners. We got nothing, we have no problem with BJP, but then since he is a chief minister heading the PPA government, certain consultations should have been there with the party organization, with the party functionaries. That has been missing, and then we are so sad that he has been hobnobbing only with the BJP executives, and he has totally left us out.
We are having alliance with PPA. We are under NEDA. Our chief minister is Pema Khandu. So at this juncture, I would like to appeal the PPA that for the development of the state, for the security of the state, there should not be any such clash amongst the PPA legislature. That is what I would like to send a message to our alliance partner PPA.
News from Uttar Pradesh now. Well, Samajwadi Party Chief Mulayam Singh Yadav has issued notices to Akhilesh Yadav as well as Ram Gopal Yadav for releasing a parallel list of candidates. Well, the party looks headed for a bitter split over candidates for the upcoming assembly polls in Uttar Pradesh. Close on the heels of the party supremo calling a meeting of all candidates on Saturday, now Ram Gopal Yadav has called an emergency national executive meet on Sunday.
With a strong rebellion from UP Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav over ticket distribution for the upcoming assembly elections, the Samajwadi Party seems to be heading towards a split. Late on Thursday, Akhilesh Yadav released a parallel list of 235 candidates for the polls after a failed meeting with party supremo and his father Mulayam Singh Yadav at the latter's residence. The list by Akhilesh includes names of those who were denied tickets in the party's official list announced by Mulayam Singh Yadav on Wednesday. The Chief Minister has asked the candidates to go to their constituencies and fight the elections.
नेताजी की पार्टी है, इसमें दो राय नहीं, लेकिन समय और परिस्थितियों के हिसाब से जब उसको अखिलेश लीड करेंगे तो नेताजी लाए हैं जहां तक उससे आगे ले जाएंगे, पीछे नहीं ले जाएंगे। कुछ लोग पीछे ले जाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, दुर्भाग्य से भी नेताजी के साथ है।
माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने कहा है क्षेत्र जाइए, चुनाव लड़िए, जीत के आइए। वो सभा भी हमारे यहाँ करेंगे और चुनाव क्षेत्र में ही हम लोग निकल रहे हैं। चुनाव जीत करके हम लोग आएंगे। समाजवादी पार्टी का भी चेहरा है, प्रदेश का भी चेहरा मुख्यमंत्री जी हैं, और श्री अखिलेश यादव जी के ऊपर किसी प्रकार का एक्सपेरिमेंट करना पार्टी के लिए बड़ा घातक होगा।
State Party Chief Shivpal Yadav met Mulayam Singh Yadav at his residence on Friday. In an attempt to avoid a division, Mulayam has called a meeting of all candidates on Saturday. The meeting is likely to gauge the sentiments of the candidates and conduct a fresh review of the list amid fears that the battle for control may leave the party cadres divided and highly confused. But the confusion already seems to have spread.
We are very sure that Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav will definitely pay heed to the request of Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, and all senior leaders are only thinking of winning the 2017 elections. There might be some difference of opinion, but those would be resolved through meaningful dialogue.
Sensing an opportunity, the opposition says the ruling party is now divided and not fit to govern.
The manner in which Samajwadi Party is unraveling itself, the manner in which they are converting this into an SP versus SP contest within their own support base, I think the SP has knocked itself out of even a contest in this election.
The Samajwadi Party has announced names of 393 candidates for 403 seats. The latest rift came out in the open after Mulayam, along with his brother and State Party Chief Shivpal, announced the names at a hurriedly convened press conference on Wednesday. The list neglected names recommended by UP CM Akhilesh Yadav, following which he circulated his own list of candidates. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And what else made news across the country? Let's take a look in Nationwide. A plea by a group of lawyers challenging the elevation of Justice J.S. Kheir as the next Chief Justice of India was dismissed on Friday by the Supreme Court. The apex court asserted that there was no question of him being considered ineligible for the post. While disapproving the grounds for entertaining the PIL, the bench noted that there were averments in the petition, praising the quality of the judge who is to be sworn in as the CJI on 4th of January. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Paneerselvam said that V.K. Sasikala Natarajan, who has been appointed the AIADMK General Secretary, will commence work soon. The party said that Sasikala will hold all powers that comes within the post until the formal election process can be completed. Nine miners were killed and some others feared trapped following a cave-in at Lalmatia coal mine at Eastern Coalfields Limited on Thursday night. As per the reports, a total of 9 bodies have been recovered from the accident site and 2 injured persons were taken to the nearest hospital. An inquiry has been ordered by the Director General of Mines Safety, and a high-level committee of experts has been constituted by Coal India to investigate the cause of the accident. Six workers were suffocated to death when a fire broke out at a bakery in Pune in the early hours of Friday. The tragedy occurred at Bakes and Cakes Bakery. According to fire brigade officials, a short circuit was reportedly the cause of the blaze. The Pune police have detained 3 persons believed to be the proprietors of the bakery. Well, we'll slip into a very short break. We'll be back with lots more. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome. I'm Amritanshu Rai and you're watching Law of the Land on Raj Sabha TV.
Doing one good deed, and giving a baby to somebody who's infertile, I don't think can be anything better.
Only people who really need surrogacy will be coming forward.
I think again the larger interest has been kept in mind, which are these poor women who are being exploited.
Watch Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha television.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back onto our top international focus. Well, Russia's foreign ministry has requested President Vladimir Putin to turf out 35 American diplomats from the country in a tit-for-tat response to a similar move by Washington. Now, several measures were taken by Obama administration on a Thursday to punish Russia over its alleged interference in the US presidential polls by cyber attacks. Now, relations between the two former superpowers are now at their worst since the end of the Cold War.
Relations between the US and Russia seem to have fallen to their worst since the Cold War. On Thursday, US President Barack Obama took steps to retaliate against alleged Russian interference in the 2016 US presidential elections. Calling Russia's involvement in the poll as significant malicious cyber-enabled activities, the US ordered 35 diplomats from Russia's Washington embassy and its consulate in San Francisco to leave the country. Also, 2 compounds used by Russian intelligence services in New York and Maryland will now be closed. Sanctions were also announced against 5 Russian entities and 4 individuals. In a statement, President Obama said the actions follow repeated warnings issued to the Russian government and was a necessary response to efforts to harm US interests. The action has prompted vows from Russian authorities that Moscow will respond in kind.
Уходящая американская администрация Барака Обамы, обвиняя Россию во всех смертных грехах,
пытаясь обвинить нас в том числе и в провале своих внешнеполитических инициатив, как вы знаете, безосновательно выдвинула дополнительные обвинения.
Russia denies any involvement in hacking and called the US action ungrounded. Other nations called on both sides to exercise restraint.
美俄都是世界上具有重要影响的大国，在促进世界和平与发展方面负有重要的责任。我们希望呢，双方能够通过友好的协商，妥善的解决有关的分歧，在相互尊重的基础上处理彼此之间的关系，实现美俄关系的。
It is noteworthy that Obama had vowed action against Russia amid accusations that it directed cyber attacks on the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton's campaign. Several emails containing information regarding Democrats were released during the election campaign through the WikiLeaks website. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has dismissed the hacking claims as ridiculous and said it was time for the US to move on. The measures taken during the last days of Obama's presidency mark a new post-Cold War low in US-Russia ties. But Moscow knows that in 3 weeks' time, President Obama will be vacating the White House, and America's next president, Donald Trump, has already called for better ties with Moscow. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
News from the Middle East now, and a new nationwide ceasefire between Syrian government forces and rebel group appears to be largely holding. However, isolated clashes have been reported since the truce came into effect at midnight on Thursday. Now, the deal includes many rebel groups, but not jihadists such as the Islamic State or the Kurdish YPG. If it holds, peace talks are due to be held in Kazakhstan within a month. Now, most of the country was reportedly calm overnight, but it reported fierce clashes between rebels and government forces in the northern province of Hama. Other isolated incidents were also reported in Idlib in northwestern Syria. Well, unlike previous ceasefires, this has not come out of US and Russian bilateral spadework, but from a new understanding between Moscow and Ankara. Let's get you some more international news in Global Buzz. The Turkish Parliament's Constitutional Commission has approved a draft constitutional reform law. The bill proposes several constitutional changes, including a switch to a presidential system of governance in the country. The bill will now be put to vote in the parliament. After the vote, Turkey will hold a referendum on the changes. Police in Rio de Janeiro have found a body inside a burnt-out car that had been rented by the Greek ambassador to Brazil. The ambassador, Kyriakos Imidridis, went missing 3 days ago. He was last seen on Monday in the city of Nova on the outskirts of Rio, where the car was found. Now, forensic experts are carrying out tests to establish the body's identity. The Pakistani man wrongly arrested for the Berlin truck attack has said that he was afraid for the safety of his family back home. Now, Naveed Baloch, an asylum seeker from Balochistan, was arrested hours after the attack on a Christmas market in Berlin, in which 12 people were killed. Police released Baloch 24 hours later after failing to find evidence of his involvement. More than a dozen Nobel laureates have urged the United Nations to end the human crisis of Myanmar's Rohingya minority group. The members of the group have been fleeing to Bangladesh to escape a bloody military crackdown. In a letter to the United Nations Security Council yesterday, 23 Nobel laureates said that a human tragedy amounting to ethnic cleansing and crimes against humanity was unfolding in Myanmar. And Washington has expressed surprise over UK's criticism of John Kerry's speech on Israel. UK Prime Minister Theresa May had criticized outgoing US Secretary of State John Kerry for his condemnation of Israeli policy, saying that he focused too much on the issue of settlements and that he should not have attacked the potential makeup of an ally's elected government. Time now for all the sporting action in SportsBeat. Mitchell Starc spearheaded Australia to a stunning final day victory over Pakistan in the second test at Melbourne. The fast bowler smashed 84 with a record 7 sixes and then captured 4 wickets to give Australia an unassailable 2-0 lead in the 3-match series. The hosts bowled Pakistan out for just 163 to win the test by an innings and 18 runs. South Africa defeated Sri Lanka by 206 runs in the first test at Port Elizabeth. The hosts took 5 wickets in the first 14 overs on the final day as they bowled out the Lankans for 281 in their second innings. Earlier, Stephen Cook's second innings 117 had set the home side up for the win. And Rafael Nadal comfortably beat Thomas Berdych in the opening round of the Mubadala World Tennis Championship in Abu Dhabi. The 14 times Grand Slam winner, who was returning after an injury, won 6-0, 6-4. He will next play Milos Raonic in the semi-final. That's all in this edition of News at 6. Thanks for watching.